What is up, my gorgeously gallivanting goons? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDoWorkHereLady. This story's called Karen Thinks Kicking the Boss's Kid Out is a Favor. First post, sorry, has been translated from our language, so the whole convo might not be word for word. Okay, so my parents used to own a small cafe in a small shopping mall. I was 13 at the time. I'm 15 now, so not that long ago. This event was around a week before we closed down, but I still remembered it. My parents used to come there once a week to check in and brought me along. Since we didn't have much staff, only 1 or 2 people, I used to help out by welcoming, greeting customers, and taking their orders. Well, one lucky day, along comes Karen, all ready to make my day as wonderful as possible. I did the usual drill, open the door, welcome to cafe name. If the cafe is full, I normally tell guests if they have to wait or show them to a table. Karen came at a time when the cafe was almost empty, so she obviously could just sit anywhere. There was just one more customer, a nice middle-aged man in the corner. The cafe had a separate room with an opening to go into, which was for smokers. My parents were in there for privacy, but could see me most of the time. Okay, on to the story. Here's the cast. Crazy Lady, that's Karen. There's me, nice man, who was the only customer. Employee, Mom, Dad. I go to Karen's table 1 minute later to take her order. She was seated on a table right next to the door. Are you ready to order, ma'am? She stares dead into me. What? Ma'am, are you ready to order? Kid, I don't got time for your BS. You played around when I came in. Now F off to wherever the hell your parents are before I call someone to get you out. Now, I'm wearing an employee name tag with my name on it, and I'm pretty taken aback by her rude response. Ma'am, I work here. Here, I gesture to my tag. That's obviously fake. Wait till I tell the owner about you and have you banned. I'm friends with him. Okay, so my mom's the owner and Crazy Lady said him, so you get the point. Ma'am, first of all, I do work here and the owners are right here. If you know them, then you can ask them about me. How dare you talk back to me like that? You know what? She grabs my arm. I'll do this place a favor and get rid of you for them. She gets up and drags me out of the door. My parents have a view of the door and see me being dragged out. So do the employees, and they rush over to free me. Let go of him! Let go of my son! He gets me out of her grip. What do you think you're doing? How dare you touch me! I'll report all of you to the owner. I'm best friends with him. I am the owner. Liar, prove it! Slightly gives my mom a hard push on the shoulder. Mall security had been observing from a distance, slowly coming closer. We'll see about that. She gestures for the guards to come here. Crazy Lady, completely ignoring the fact that she saw my mom gesture for the guards. Ha! Let's see you get thrown out for harassing a woman. She then turns to the guards. Please help! They harassed me and pushed me and shoved me, and that little brat abused and talked back to me. Guards, they already saw everything. Sure, let's go talk about it. Crazy Lady, white as a ghost. What? You're gonna throw me out? I know the mall's owner. Same old trick. Oh, Karen. Let's go see him then. He would love to know what you did. I went home with my mom and we left our dad to deal with it since I was having a breakdown and couldn't stop crying. Dad came home and told us the woman bawled and literally fell in front of the manager, who she was taken to, and apologized to my dad a lot and how she was just under a lot of stress. My father couldn't take it that this woman had laid a hand on me and talked with the manager. In the end, they finally agreed on banning her from the mall and let her be on her way. The authorities did show up, but by then the issue was resolved and she was sent on her way. It might be something to laugh about today, but boy, I wish I never see another Karen again. It is an unknown number of years in the future. The apocalypse has occurred, and now we are all facing our judgment before God. God wants to send Karen to hell, but of course she says, "How dare you touch me and send me to hell? I know the owner." This story's called, I'm Your Server and the Manager. Checkmate, Karen. I'm not sure if this is inappropriate for this group, as it was clear that I work there, but not in the capacity that the customer thought. But I'll push through. I'm in mobile, so all the obligatory sorry I'm on mobile. A few years ago, I started serving at a family-owned restaurant in my town. I quickly became close with the owner and the owner's daughter, and helped them with more than just serving. I became head server. Whoa! And then bar manager. Since it was a smaller restaurant, I kept serving because I made way more money that way. We had a special every day for wine. We had a shelf filled with wine bottles. Each shelf was either 15%, 25%, or 50% off. It was a great deal, and typically we sold it for about $5 to $10 more than we were paying per bottle of wine. I don't know if this is well known, but a lot of restaurants upcharge their alcohol quite a bit in order to make a profit, obviously. So it was a great deal for people. One day, a lady comes in with her friends and immediately starts causing problems. I end up taking over for the server who got them right away after they ordered their drinks because they were so rude to her, and it was her first full day of serving by herself. The lady ends up ordering one of the 25% off bottles, which ended up being around $7 more than you could buy it in a liquor store. How do I know this? At the end of the meal, I can hear her talking to her friends about how she's going to get the bottle of wine for free. She knew I was right there and could probably hear her, but I was just the server and probably dumb. Also overheard at an earlier time. I may be dumb, but I'm not stupid. At this point, I'm so ready to tell her no, I actually wander by a few times so she can try her crap. Sure enough, she snaps at me, and I mean literally snaps her fingers, and calls over and said, "I want you to get your bar manager. I looked online and found this bottle of Merlot for X amount of dollars, and you charged me X amount of dollars plus 7. I'm not paying this ridiculous overcharge, and I also want to talk to them about the service here today too." Now, not to toot my own horn, I was a good server. There weren't many people in the restaurant at the time, so I know I didn't neglect them. I substituted food for them and didn't charge them any upcharges, even though a double-baked stuffed potato costs more than a side of chips, but whatever. She looked at me with such a smug face until I smiled back at her and said, "Actually, I am the bar manager." I've never seen such a comical change in expression outside of a sitcom. She said, "You're the bar manager?" And I smiled and nodded and said, "Every restaurant will charge you more for products than they buy them for. That is how we make a profit. I'm not going to be discounting the wine. As far as issues with service, I would be happy to listen to your complaints and take them into consideration for the future." She spluttered, grumbled, and told me, I'll never come back here." Okay.
Good riddance,
lady. And she didn't come back. Her friends did though, and became some of my favorite regulars. They told me a few months later that the only reason they went out with her was because she was one of their sisters-in-law and didn't have any friends. I wonder why. Okay, first off, I gotta say that must have been really satisfying to be like, "I am the bar manager, and you are no longer a lawyer." Also, shout out if you guess where that little "good riddance" was from. If you do, you're seriously my friend now. Alright, this story's called "Shut Up, Kid, I Want the Engineer." Second story! Since the first one was much, much more appreciated than I could have hoped. I began looking into old anecdotes, and I remembered this gem from 2011. Again, a small preemptive excuse since English is not my first language. Sadly, or luckily, I don't remember any more stories that fit this particular sub. That said, here we go! At the time, I was 26, just out of the university with my title and master, both completed by December 2010. Almost immediately, I went into a big engineering company specialized in tall buildings. I was still green with little to no experience in the real world, and by nature, I'm also evasive when it comes to conflict, so I'm not exactly the wise choice when it comes to clash against aggressive or too dominant people. Still, I was able to fake confidence and capable enough to quickly gain the trust of clients. Because of that, I was already managing projects with some degree of autonomy at 6 months on the job. That said, it was November, already very warm weather, Chile, so summer in November, and the office was working at its usual pace. That is, calm, but 2 steps away from total panic. It was morning when my boss called me. Let's call him Ray. He is a great guy, professional, but often a bit dense when it comes to social cues. To this day, we're still good friends despite both not working there anymore. When I arrive at his desk, he pulls out a set of schematics. "Hey, I have a meeting this afternoon with this particular client, but I cannot go. They have some kind of issues, so it's important that someone from the office is there if things go difficult." Difficult? I asked. Yeah, they made a screw up and want to blame us. Still, everything is on the drawings. You shouldn't have any issues. Sure, I'll take it. The meeting came and I went off in the taxi in front of this 22-story office building. The lobby was already finished in floors of black marble and roof in white marble with diffuse white lighting. Round, double-height columns in stainless steel. As I enter, something calls my attention. There are scratches on the floor. Oh, also in the columns. Damn, also in the doors. This is bad. These are telltale signs of horrible construction management. I take the stairs to the 4th floor and the construction auditor, Phil, receives me. He's a large guy with a short beard and stern but amicable face. So, you are OP? What happened to Ray? Hi, yes, he sent me in his place. Well, we're about to start. Just sit by my side and don't intervene unless it is necessary. Anything I need to know? I ask. He smiles back with a grin. Just wait and enjoy. So we enter this large improvised meeting room. There is electricity, but the floor is still bare concrete and the doors are temporary. The table is enough for maybe 20 people. On the corner there is a small guy with a curved back and sketchy appearance. He could be described as a weasel in office attire. No one pays any attention to my presence as everyone is taking seats. I sit beside Phil, near the middle of the table. The weasel on the far head and the closest head is still empty. That guy's the construction manager. He's blaming us for the screw-up, he says, pointing at the weasel. We wait for maybe 5 minutes with only a rumor of the small conversations in place. Finally, the door opens and a peacock-like office Chad enters. Black trousers, white and pink vertically striped shirts, and big golden sunglasses where a helmet should have been. A large golden watch, kettlebell-sized, completed the image. Sorry I'm late. Let's begin the meeting, Chad announces, I assume for his commanding tone that he is the representative of the owners. After some minimal greeting to all the people in the room by the architect, he gives the word to Chad. I take a glance at Phil. He is expectant. Now, Chad rises from the table, points to the weasel, and the party starts. Explain to me how the heck you forgot to build doors for the elevator's machine room. We are already delayed a month. You made a freaking mess on the lobby, and now we have to demolish a wall so the elevator people can enter.
Okay, sir, the weasel answered. First of all, these changes have been asked by you. You asked for the lobby to be left ready while I still have to work with the people there, and
you have it fully scratched. How the heck is that my responsibility? Turns out, Chad and the weasel not only were severely unprofessional, but also hated each other with such passion that they had to be put in opposite sides of the table because more than once, they went too close to a fistfight. They discuss screaming at each other for maybe 5 minutes. Chad is fully aggressive and red, attacking relentlessly. The manager, just as his appearance suggests, sneaks in between all the attacks and deflects responsibilities, blaming everything under the sun. The rest of the assistants are just expecting to let time pass quickly and leave. But Phil is happy. He was one step away from having some popcorn. I lean to him and whisper, so they've forgotten access for the machine room? Not only that, but the weasel also declared some construction molds as stolen and they made an investigation. Turns out they are still inside that closed room. What? I ask a bit louder. Hey, kid! Chad addresses me, disrespectively. Shut up! And goes back to the fight. After some more punches back and forth, the weasel is running out of ways to deflect his mistake. He tries one more.
But this wasn't our fault. The door was not in the structural engineer's drawings. He forms a smug smile. Plus, Ray didn't even come to the meeting. If penalties are to be applied, it is to them for their incompetence.
Boy, that was my cue. I clear my throat but fail in the first impression, entering in a timid way. Well,
shut up, kid.
The weasel snaps and looks to Phil.
Phil, keep your assistant quiet.
I decided to make me understood more clearly. I pull the set of schematics, letting them fall heavily over the table and catching the attention of both Chad and the weasel. Over the schematics, I put my construction helmet with the logo of the engineering firm. Silence takes the place. if I may. I now speak in front of a pale weasel and a Chad who internally debates if he should show shame for calling me a kid or do a victory lap around the weasel. I'm actually a structural engineer from company, and Ray sent me as his representation because his schedule was full. Mind if we check what appears on the drawings? Here we are. Yes. As you can see, the door is here, and I think this cannot be attributed to confusion from structural design. I agree, Phil comments with a huge smile. The rest of the table is trying to hide their amusement. I continue. So, that settles it. I can make here a procedure for the demolition and installation of the access, or if you prefer, I can send it approved by Ray by tomorrow. Everyone is silent in a second of contained storm, but Phil isn't done yet. He leans in and puts his hands over the table. Now, we need to see what we will do to recover the supposedly stolen equipment that is still inside the machine room, and what you will do about the 2 workers that were fired this morning. He looks to the weasel, who is just about to melt and escape by the first crack he can. Chad now turns into a raging volcano. He was so furious that his blood pressure could have been measured in atmospheres. You fired people without proof? And then another maybe 5 minutes of berating exploded until the architect, who was supposed to be coordinating the meeting, called for a truce so they could advance with the problems of the electric and water crews. Phil and I were dismissed, but while the door was closing, I could hear Chad screaming again. I sighed, relieved. Truth is, I was shaking a little. What a mess! Nah, this was a quiet meeting, Phil said, smiling. Tell Ray he missed a good one. Pleased to meet you, kid. In the end, the construction was finished with 5 months of delay. Both the Weasel and Chad were fired from their respective companies. Ray just laughed at my story and told me it was good that Chad hadn't tried to punch me because he wanted to fight everyone all the time. I never found those 2 again, but I found Phil on another project 2 years after. Same mischievous old man. To my luck and to this day, I never had another meeting like that dreadful one. Okay, that was a pretty good story. I actually like that one. Who else found this story very anime though? Like, a trope with anime is they take a seemingly somewhat boring profession and try to make it into something badass. For instance, when OP here made it known that he was actually an engineer, there was this atmosphere of, oh crap, he's an engineer, you know? I'm not saying engineers aren't cool. They are cool. I mean, not necessarily anyone's definition of badass, but they are very cool. Anyways, good story, very anime, very enjoyable. I liked it. Also, Ray's a cool dude, Phil's a cool dude. Honestly, I kind of like Chad. He's kind of fiery, cool dude. I mean, don't be like that, but still cool. Kind of like how in real life, no one would like Bakugo or Vegeta or Sasuke, but because they're anime characters, you know, they're jerks, but they're cool jerks. They're fiery cool jerks. Ha! Chad was Bakugo if he was a Chilean dude in a construction thing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.